Karen called 911 on my shooting range. She didn't know I'm licensed under federal defense law. Have you ever faced someone so convinced they're right that they'd weaponize 911 against you? That's exactly what happened to me last summer at my family's rural shooting range, a place we've run for decades. Karen, our new neighbor with a freshly built McMansion, decided the sound of gunfire was her personal nightmare and called the cops, claiming we were running an illegal operation. What she didn't know: our range is licensed under federal defense law, and her meddling was about to backfire spectacularly. It all started on a crisp Saturday morning. My name's Jake, and I run a small, family-owned shooting range on 50 acres of land in upstate New York. We're a tight-knit crew. My dad and my sister Lila, and our range is a haven for local hunters, sport shooters, and even law enforcement who train with us. The range is fully compliant, licensed under federal regulations tied to defense contractor training, which gives us special permissions most civilian ranges don't have. We've got permits, sound barriers, and a reputation for safety. But Karen didn't care about any of that. She moved in 3 months prior, her sprawling house visible from our property line. From day one, she'd been sending passive-aggressive notes about noise pollution and disturbing the peace. We tried to be neighborly, invited her to tour the range, explained our hours, even offered free earplugs. She declined, nose in the air, muttering about gun nuts. I figured she'd get used to it. Rural life isn't silent. After all, cows moo, tractors rumble, and ranges go bang. But that Saturday, she escalated. I was coaching a group of off-duty cops when 2 sheriff's deputies rolled up, lights flashing. The group paused, and Lila shot me a look. "What now?" she muttered. Deputy Harris, a regular at our range, stepped out, looking sheepish. "Jake, we got a 911 call about illegal gunfire and a dangerous militia operation. Had to check it out." My stomach churned. Karen. I knew it was her before he even said her name. Harris explained she'd called hysterical, claiming we were firing military-grade weapons and endangering the community. She demanded we be shut down immediately. I showed him our permits, including the federal license tied to defense contracts, which he'd seen before. He radioed back, confirming everything was above board. But Karen wasn't done. She'd followed the deputies in her SUV, parking at our gate, filming us with her phone like she was uncovering a scandal. Here's where things got spicy. Karen stormed up, waving her phone, shouting, "This is private property. You can't operate a war zone next to my home." I stayed calm, explaining Gaynor legal status. She cut me off, yelling about her rights and how she'd have this place condemned. Harris tried to mediate, but she turned on him, accusing him of being in on it. That's when Lila, who'd been quiet, stepped in. "Ma'am, you called 911 on a licensed range. That's a false report. You know that's illegal, right?" Karen froze, but only for a second. Then she doubled down, claiming she felt threatened by our gun culture. That's when an unexpected player entered the scene. Tom, a retired ATF agent who lives down the road. He'd been at the range that morning observing a training session. Tom's a quiet guy, but when he speaks, people listen. He walked over, badge in hand, and asked Karen, "Ma'am, are you aware that filing a false 911 call based on bias can violate state law? Like the Karen Act in some places?" Karen's face went white. Tom explained that her call wasn't just a nuisance site, could be seen as discriminatory, targeting us for legally exercising our rights. He wasn't threatening her, just laying out facts, but it hit like a thunderclap. The deputies, now visibly annoyed, told her to head home and warned her about wasting police resources. She sputtered, insisting she was protecting the community. But Harris wasn't having it. "Ma'am, this range has been here longer than your house. They're legal. You're not." As she retreated to her SUV, I thought that was the end. But Karen, true to form, couldn't let it go. By Monday, she'd posted a viral video on X, edited to make it look like we were running a shady operation. She tagged local news, the mayor, even the governor, calling us a public safety hazard. The post blew up, racking up thousands of shares from people who'd never set foot in our county. Comments called us everything from redneck vigilantes, to domestic terrorists. My phone buzzed nonstop with hate messages. But the internet works both ways. Lila, a social media wizard, fought back. She posted a thread on X, detailing our licenses, our community work like free safety classes for kids, and even clips of Karen's 911 call, obtained through a public records request. The call was damning. Her voice shrill, accusing us of terrorizing her without evidence. Lila's thread included testimonials from cops, veterans, and locals who vouched for us. Then Tom dropped a bombshell. He shared a link to a 2020 New York law inspired by the Karen Act, which lets victims of biased 911 calls sue for damages. The tide turned fast. Ex-users piled on Karen. Digging up her past complaints, turns out she'd called 911 on a black family barbecuing in a park, claiming they were loitering. Her video's comments flipped, with people tagging her employer, a fancy real estate firm. By Wednesday, her account was private, and her firm issued a statement distancing themselves. Rumor was she'd been reassigned to a desk job. The showdown came at a town hall meeting a week later. Karen showed up, flanked by a lawyer, trying to rally support. She claimed she was traumatized by our hostile response online, but the room wasn't hers. Locals packed the hall, hunters, farmers, even the diner owner who dealt with her whining about slow service. One by one, they spoke up, praising our range as a community asset. A sheriff's deputy, who trained with us, laid it bare. Her call pulled us away from a real emergency, a car crash on Route 9. That's the cost of these stunts. Then my dad, who'd been silent most of the night, stood up. He's a Vietnam vet, not big on speeches, but his voice carried weight. We built this range to teach respect for guns, for safety, for each other. Karen didn't ask questions. She assumed we're criminals because we shoot. That's not neighborly. That's prejudice. The room erupted in applause. Karen's lawyer whispered something, and they slipped out before the meeting ended. The fallout was swift. Karen settled out of court after we filed a civil suit under New York's anti-discrimination law, covering our legal fees and donating to a local veterans charity. Her house went up for sale a month later. Last I heard, she'd moved to a condo in the city, probably complaining about street noise now. Our range, busier than ever, with new members signing up after the drama. Lila even made licensed and loud t-shirts, which sold out in a week. Looking back, Karen's call wasn't just about noise. It was about control, about imposing her version of right on a community she didn't bother to understand. Her 911 stunt could have cost us everything, but it ended up proving our strength. We didn't just defend our range, you defended our way of life. And that's a win worth celebrating. What do you think? Was Karen out of line, or did she have a point? Should neighbors have a say in what's too loud? Or is it her job to adapt? Share your take. I am curious where you stand.